Greetings friends, Steven here, and welcome to my review of the game Bit Dungeon Plus. Now this is a game I played on my Nintendo Wii U. You can get it from the eShop. It sells for $7.50 Canadian. I did notice though that the game is also available on Steam, so you can get it on your PC, and it is cheaper there. I saw it for $4.50. But for the purpose of this review, we will be looking specifically at what I saw on the Wii U version. So this is a game published by Dolores Entertainment, and, well, if you're familiar with the original Legend of Zelda's Dungeons, or more recently, the Binding of Isaac, then I think you have a pretty good idea of what you're going to get out of this game, because it's very similar to those other two. Honestly, I was not that big a fan of Binding of Isaac. It's not a bad game by any means, but I don't know. It just never appealed to me. Maybe it was just the art style or just the weird, lots of poop in that game. I don't know. There's something weird going on there. But this game, it's more of a traditional. I would definitely say it does aim more towards the Zelda side of things. It does have a pixel graphic look to it, which I think I prefer, all things considered. I mean, it looks pretty good for what it's trying to be. I would say that just the art style of the game, there's nothing that really stands out. I mean, you can tell what everything is. It's your typical, you're a knight, you're running around in a dungeon defeating enemies. You know what everything is, but there's nothing that really stands out as far as the art is concerned. But if you are a fan of pixel-style graphics, then I think this might appeal to you. Now, first thing I noticed right off the bat from the main menu, something that I thought was pretty neat, is that this game actually has a two-player couch co-op mode. Unfortunately, I was not able to try that, but I think that's a pretty neat idea, and it's always a welcome addition to any game like this. I don't know if Binding of Isaac has a two-player mode. It probably does. I don't know. That's not what I was here to talk about. But this game certainly does, so that is certainly a plus. The dungeons are randomly generated. You'll get something new every time. The game itself has a very arcadey feel to it. There were mentions of save slots, but I could never figure out where to go and how to save the game. It always seemed like I was just starting from scratch whenever I would start a new game up. So, you're dropped into the dungeon. There's some story. I think you're trying to save someone. I don't know. It's irrelevant. There's really no story that I could see. It's basically just go in a room and defeat all enemies to open the chests and go into the next room. That's about all there is to it. One thing I liked during the battles is there's a shield button, which like normally you don't really get all that much play shield-wise. It's always just sword play or like a long distance, but I liked having the shield there. I thought that was a nice touch. On the other hand, using the sword, it could have a longer reach. It's a very short reach weapon, which can be kind of an issue at times. Now, if you do want to go longer range, there are magic attacks, but I found I just didn't use them all that often. I kind of forgot they were there half the time. If you look in the corner of the screen, you will see a Diablo-style health and mana bar. So, yeah, it's pretty much exactly that. Like, half of a circle is devoted to your health, the other half to your magic. Back to the shield, actually, something I wanted to mention there. When you block, there is something of a stamina bar which goes down, which is kind of a neat touch as well. So, of course, if you block too much, your character actually gets dizzy and you can't move for a moment. So, careful about that. Back to your weapons. It is possible to hold your sword attack down, not unlike Legend of Zelda, and one neat thing about doing that is that your character, once you've charged up, is now able to move faster, and when you let go of the button, you're able to do a spin attack, which is also very similar to The Legend of Zelda. And yeah, you're just going through screen after screen, defeating enemies. Like I said, the enemies, they're fine, but they are kind of forgettable, all things considered. So, sometimes when you finish off a room, you will see a secret wall on the top, and if you go into that secret wall, you will be led to a shop where you can buy, like, upgrades and whatnots. There are more expensive chests you can open, but I never had enough money to open them, so I really don't know what's in there. I assume it's just more armor and upgrades and that sort of thing. Sometimes also when you finish a room, these 3 orbs will appear, and they each have a different perk, be it more crit attack, better health, better attack strength. You know the drill, typical RPG kind of upgrades. There are treasure chests in each room, depending on, it's always random once again, but in those chests we'll find sometimes better, sometimes worse weapons and armor for your character. Now this is kind of tricky because it does mention what the upgrades are. Generally I'm thinking if something is green and it's all green, then you'll probably want to take that. If it's red, you probably don't want to take it. I'm assuming that just means it's worse. But you don't get a whole lot of explanation on that. It's just sort of thing where you just play it a long enough time, and then you'll sort of figure it out as you go along. I don't know. It felt like it could use more translation work. As you continue on, you will find the bigger door, and going through that will surprisingly lead to a loading screen. You wouldn't think the game would really need loading screens all that much, but there will be one, and that will lead you to a boss fight, which is, of course, just a bigger version of some of the enemies you'd seen already in that area. Before I mentioned that the sword had a pretty short reach, and you will definitely notice that as well while fighting the bosses. So, there you go. That's about the gist of the gameplay. Go from room to room, defeat enemies, occasionally open chests, and hopefully upgrade your armor and weapons. You might use magic from time to time, although I found I basically just used the sword, and I did appreciate having a shield button. The game's music, it doesn't really fit the game, but I still think it's pretty catchy for the most part. Back to what I said before, I do think the game could use a bit more work done into as far as just explaining what things are and just better English. Like, it definitely feels like it was translated from a different language. It's fine. I think the game mentioned checkpoints at some point, but I don't know where the checkpoints are. I think they're after the boss room, because there is a little area there, and that leads you to a different set of dungeons, but I wasn't never quite sure. So, I mean, all things considered, it's a simple to play arcade game. If you have $7.50 left on your eShop account and you're looking for something not unlike Zelda or the Binding of Isaac, then hey, maybe Bit Dungeon Plus might be the game for you. It's alright. It's fine. If you have a second player sitting there with you to play it, I think it would definitely be a lot better of a better purchase for you. But I wouldn't say it's something you'd go out and buy an eShop card for, but if you have the money left in the account and you're just looking for something to play, simple pick up and play style game, then this might just be what you're looking for. If the footage you've been seeing here as I've been speaking looks appealing to you, then hey, maybe you'll give the game a shot. When I was playing it, I did think an ideal price would be like $5. I thought would be decent, so maybe the Steam version might be a better alternative, because $7.50 might be a bit high. I'm sure it'll probably go on sale from time to time, as many games do, on the Nintendo Wii U eShop. So, there you go, everyone. Thanks for listening and watching my review of the game Bit Dungeon Plus. This was a review for the Wii U eShop digital version. And check the description section out, because I'll probably put summaries of the things I found, pluses and minuses, things I liked, things I disliked in that description. Anything I forgot to say now, I'll hopefully add there later. And if you guys have a game you want me to review, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, everyone, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.